Friday Night Racing
on Off the Ball.
And they're off.
Brought to you by Go Racing. Plan your day at the races at goracing.ie.
And you're very welcome along to Friday Night Racing. As ever, if you're joining us on our live afternoon streams, then you're welcome on YouTube, on Facebook and on Twitter or Periscope. And of course, if you're joining us on the radio this evening, then thanks very much for being part of this. If you ever want to get in touch with us, you can drop us a comment on the live streams underneath, or of course you can tweet the show at Off the Ball. As ever, Johnny Ward is here, but we're also joined by Sean Flanagan, who is here to tell us a bit about his story this week. Sean, how are you?
Good, yeah, good, thanks very much, yeah.
You're injured at the moment?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. It hasn't been too bad of a road so far, but it's just, originally I thought it would have been 5 or 6 weeks, and it's 5 weeks now, and it's probably going to push on 7 or 8 maybe, but we're working on getting back as quick as we can.
What happened?
I got a fall off a horse called Ice Slip in Tremor. Broke my tibia just up near my knee. It wasn't a terribly bad break, it was a fracture and it didn't displace, so I didn't have to get anything done with it, but he landed down on me and there was a lot of bruising in both my legs, and it took a long time for that to go away, so I kind of lost a bit of movement in my knee, and it's struggling to get it back, you know. And
so the broken tibia is kind of my biology wasn't great in leaving cert. It's the bone on the outside.
Shin bone, yeah, shin bone up near the knee. And funnily enough, it wasn't the actual break in the shin bone wasn't terribly bad. It was the bruising above the knee on both legs was actually probably worse than the break, you know.
The pain.
Yeah, it just made everything very awkward. Like my leg was in a brace for the first 2 weeks kind of, and it was fine. But then when I took off the brace and went to go do a bit and get going, I had to put the brace back on again and give it another week or 10 days.
The brace basically prevents anything?
Just prevent movement in the knee. So when the fracture hadn't displaced, that it wouldn't displace, you know, so just left it heal. But the fracture actually healed fine. But then the bruising, so a bit, I just have a hematoma above my knee, and it's still there, and
right.
it's gradually going down, but as it goes down, it drains into my knee, and then the movement in my knee is restricted.
Okay.
A lot.
When it happened, like how much of each individual fall do you remember? Are they kind of... So we were talking with Kieran Donaghy earlier on, and he talked about how life slows down to this glacial pace at certain moments in his career. When you come off a horse, is it instantaneous and you're like, or is there a... I know what's going to happen, this is actually happening?
Yeah, like, you know, there's falls, especially like at Tremor summer racing, especially the horse that I was riding at the time. He some horses, you know, you're kind of with the race all the way. He's a funny type of horse. You used to always have to ride him out the back, like last, completely last. And he's just the way he had to be ridden. And then you always find yourself coming down the hill and making ground up the hill, going very fast. You know, he flies at the end, and he was doing his usual thing. He was absolutely flying down second last, and there was a stride there, and I went for the stride, and he just put one leg out, and the minute he put one leg out, I was like, this is not going to happen today, I'm afraid. And he just hit the fence, and I could see it all happening, you know, and it was just one of them falls that generally with racing, the further you are away from the back of the fence, if you get a fall, the softer the fall you've got, because, you know, you've rolled and you've slid along and you've slid away. But if you roll around after a fall and you're from here to the end of the table away from the back of the fence, you're after getting a proper slap, because it was a dead fall. So
what was the ground like as well?
Oh, it was good firm ground, yeah. So if I put my hand back when I was on the ground, I'd probably touch the back of the fence. Right. And he was lying up to my waist on me, still. At the back of the fence. So
is that moment terrifying when he's lying on you, because you don't know that he's just going to roll off you? Or
a little bit. I had one of his front legs in here held, so he wouldn't kick me in the head, but it was just one of them falls. But yeah,
you held his front leg?
Yeah, I just grabbed his front leg because he was trying to kick me. He was trying to get up, obviously, and fairness.
While you were on the ground,
yeah,
with the broken leg, more or less.
Yeah, and I just you know, the ground staff were to be very quick, and they were there, and they rolled him off me the right way, is a sense that he rolled off the other way, and instantaneously when he was lying on me, I said, I'd say my leg is broke here, you know, but after 30 seconds, I actually got up and walked to the ambulance. So the leg break wasn't necessarily that bad, but then obviously there was a lot of bruising. So as the bruising as I cooled off,
as it starts to
the pain then started.
The adrenaline goes away from you. Yeah. Like, is there also a moment of joy/relief when you're like, I can feel that, that's good, that's a good sign, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
I feel that intense pain, I realise that is very, very sore, but at least I can feel it.
Absolutely, like, you know, you're lying on the ground, you almost go, oh, is everything intact? Kind of give yourself a little shake, and then you're obviously going to be a certain amount sore. You've just hit the ground a fair rap, like, you know. But as I said in one of the newspaper interviews afterwards, that definitely we Dr. Adrian McGoldrick is our chief medical. He's not anymore.
Had him in like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Good to see you're watching the show every week.
Yeah, exactly. Sharp. I was up on it, you know. But he's designed a new back protector for us, and it's just a second to none. Like, you could see there was a line where my back protector ended, and from there down I was black and blue, and I was fine from there up, you know.
Davy Condon told the story of when he had a fall in Mallow, and he was lying on the ground and he couldn't feel his legs, and he was just looking up at the sky, and he was thinking, when you're talking about, like, you want to see how much of your body is there, and it more or less ended his career, but he wasn't paralysed. But he was just speaking about, like, how he thought that was it, like, in that, and he was just kind of, this moment of almost clarity came over him, and just lying on the ground looking at the sky in Mallow where he couldn't move his body, and in this massive tingling sensation then, and then gradually he just got it all back. But, like, I'd say it must be terrifying. Like.
Oh yeah, that'd have to be an awful feeling, like, you know. And like, it's, you know, sometimes it sounds funny, but if you are lying at the back of a fence and you're in pain, that's okay, because at least you can feel it, you know, that kind of a thing. There's obviously lads there that haven't been so lucky, but that's.
Is there ever a worry that a fall will make you break your bottle, like?
I don't know, really. It never really came to me. I suppose maybe that's a good thing, because if it does come to you, then maybe it's not a good thing, you know.
You're finished at the game if it does, like.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, at this competitive level?
I think you'd be more worried about getting the fall. That's when you'd be worried. If you're going out thinking, oh, hope this lad doesn't fall, or then you're like, obviously if you go out thinking you're going to fall, the first thing it's going to do is probably fall. Because
I presume with horses, if you have a kind of an anxiety in you, that'll translate to the horse and he'll feel it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Like, the more relaxed some people are with horses, the more relaxed horses will be. If you go in, you'd see lads there that go into work on it if they're having a bad day, and generally it might have nothing to do with anything, it just could be having a bad day. Horse and and the minute you do that, so the horse is going thinking the same thing.
Paul Carby, who obviously was stable jockey at Noel Meade prior to Sean, I remember the story of he was riding for Dermot Weld, and my mate was working for Dermot Weld, and Dermot Weld asked my mate, will you bring that horse to Galway, will you go with him on Thursday? And he said, no chance, the horse literally can't jump, he cannot jump a twig. And Carby rode him for the first time, didn't touch a twig. Yeah, and it's just like the power the jockey has in translating into the horse, the ability that everything is alright. Like.
Yeah, and Carby, one of the things that he would have taught me, not really, that we had much of a relationship before I went to Noel's, but even before I went to Noel's, we used to talk about different things, and I think I went to him one day and asked him, you know, and 90% of the lads in the wear room still do it, they go and ask the lad who rode the horse previously, what's he like, X, Y or Z, you know, and he might tell you something about him. Carby said, never ask a lad about a horse, because you'll ride him your own way, you're better off. And he's right, because like, Carby was Carby because he rode horses his own way, but if he's listened to someone else the way they've ridden the last day.
We'll hopefully get him on the show, but funny enough, I don't enjoy watching jumps racing as much since he retired, because you could be watching a race in Thurles on a Thursday in winter, and he'd be just riding something, and he'd make it look so effortless, and he might win by a neck without coming off the bridle. Yeah. And he just said he was I think the most naturally talented jockey I've ever seen.
Everybody talks about his horseman.
It's unreal, yeah.
Yeah. What does that mean to people? Like, explain that.
It's like a mechanic that can just go in and fix a car that no one else could fix, and it just comes, it's like, oh sure, this is what's wrong, do you know. Like you say about him making it look effortless, like he was funny in the sense that everyone else around him would be scrubbing away and he'd be just sat like this, but he had such a pair of legs on him that he would be more or less lifting the horse along. He would be going equally as well or as bad as everyone around him, but he just made it look like they were going so much easier.
And I've never seen him imitate it, or if you tried you wouldn't be able.
Anyone that tries to imitate him, you see, it's funny, and a lot of lads have tried to imitate him, and they'd think from looking at Carby that he used to just perch up there and sit and look pretty, but Carby used to be just squeezing a horse along with his legs. So he had a natural talent that he could sit with his arse a foot higher than his head, and he could just push with his legs. And I don't know how he's able to do it. I don't know. It's a natural thing.
A mystery.
Yeah.
So you're another person we've had in here who isn't from a horse family or a horse background, and it's interesting that you talk about going to get advice from people and asking people like Paul Carby for advice and it's different type of advice from specifically to a horse, but you also went to the race academy, and I'm interested in this process, because obviously it's relatively new. It wasn't there for the jockeys in the 60s and 70s, I don't think.
No, like a lot of jockeys have gone through it. I know Conor Dwyer, and it is there quite a while, you know, but it has evolved so much over the years. I hate school, and I was getting out of school no matter where I was going, and my parents were kind of edging maybe try get in here, so I did. And it was some like life changer of a thing to do. Like they shape you into what you need to be going forward. Like they teach you all the ins and outs. And like I went there thinking, sure, I don't need this. Like I know what I'm doing. I worked for Lisdale, and I used to ride out, and I was a right lad. And I went there, and after a month there, I realised I hadn't a clue like what was going on. You know, until I finished it. They done you were based in race for, I don't know, it's broke up into 3 terms. So whatever the first term, you're based in race morning and evening. You do your morning in the yard there. They have horses, all ex-retired race horses, and you think that they're going to be handy rides and they're old pets. They used to cart every day of the week going around the gaps. They used to love the game. But anyway,
they probably were happy to take the piss a bit out of the new lad as well.
Taking the piss out of the
new
lad,
who's this new lad now? Yeah, he looks easy pickings.
Let's go, you know. Yeah. But so then the second term, you would have your morning working in a yard on the Curragh. So it was real life. You were out and you were working and you were doing the same as what every other lad in the yard would do.
Who would you go with then?
I went to Martin Brazel.
Right. Man of few words.
Man of few words. Learned plenty. He few words, but when he'd point a finger and say, maybe you should do this.
He won the national with number 6 Valverde. He's another of these trainers. Like he doesn't have that many horses, but like ultra shrewd. Like
yeah, ultra shrewd. And it was that year I led him up to win a Tiestas and an Irish national. That year that I worked there, like, you know, and then the third term, then you were full time working in the yard, you know. So they were just gradually shaping you along to put you into the right direction, you know.
When you're full time working in the yard, what are you working as, a jockey?
You're working as a stable lad, you really, you know, and you'd ride out and you do the evening stables the same as everyone else, and if you were lucky enough, you kept your job in the yard and you had kind of a year's under your belt in the yard, kind of up the ladder, then you could move on, you know.
How do you get racing? Like at what point in that process do you go, yeah, I'm going to race now?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. It's like you have to. It's a long process. Like lads come into a yard there and clap their hands and say, yes, we're away. We have a good job now. Should I might get right for 6 months, and it's opportunity. Like it's very hard for a trainer to say, thanks very much to the owner. You've given 50 grand for your horse. Now I'm going to give this young lad that has never had a ride before a ride on your horse for the first time.
Thanks.
I think that's,
you know, it's very hard. Like
for my dealings with racing personnel, they're very grounded. Like, so if you, like, I spoke to Conor Clifford when Conor was playing at Chelsea when he was under 17. He spoke about lads who would never have played for Chelsea who'd be on about 15, 17 grand a week, and they've never played a game. And whereas in racing, you have to graft to get there. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're Joseph O'Brien or Sean Flanagan, you have to graft hard in the yard, and that grounds you, I think, as an individual, and you're kind of more humble, and maybe there's a bit more humility about you.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you do get your opportunity, you've put in so much work and you've worked so hard to get the opportunity to be where you are at that day, whether it's your first or your third or your 10th winner. You really do appreciate it. Like it counts, you know, and you don't lose your head either, because you know what it's like to be the lad in the yard and work all your way along to where you are. And there's a lot of lads that work all the way along and don't get there, you know, and some of them are good riders, and you know, there's just no reason why. You just has to click the horse on the day and it wins, and next thing someone spots you, and then you ride their horse next week, and then the trainer you work for has more confidence in you, because the trainer that you don't work for gives you the opportunity to ride for him.
Do you remember your first race, or what do you remember?
Oh, clear as day, yeah.
Really, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I worked with Lisdale, and I left Lisdale's and went to Eamon Sheehy's while Liz had actually taken a horse in out of the field for me to ride in the Pint. So I went to Eamon Sheehy's, and Liz still gave me my first ride. It was in the Slán Abhaile in Listowel. It's 12 years ago last week.
Right.
And
haven't aged a bit.
And On Your Way he was called. And like necessarily wasn't fancied too much, but yeah, should look at hoping for a good run. But sure, he ran. It was raining like hell, and it was heavy ground, and he wanted nice ground, and he just away like scalded cat. I had a pair of gloves on me, and it was just like this slipped through my reins the whole way, and I finished 5th on him. But like I gave
wasn't the most promising start.
I gave him a terrible ride there. Absolutely.
5th out of
Probably
4?
No, there was probably 10 or 12 in it.
Right, it's not too bad,
No,
right?
it was grand. It was grand, but he just ran clean away at me. So I threw the gloves in the bin that day. Haven't worn them since.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, what's the thought process there? Because you often look at lads on a right rotten day, and some have, some haven't.
Yeah. Some people just don't like him. I suppose if that day...
You associated nearly with that? Like,
Absolutely,
yeah.
I associate with that, but I just don't like to feel the gloves. Now, I go in right out and have a pair of woolly gloves on. I don't like cold hands, but it's just the feel. I'd feel like I'd drop my stick or I'd drop something, so I'd just rather having my hands on. And then there's other people that wouldn't dream of going out without a pair of gloves on them, you know.
So you're still an amateur at this stage when you're riding?
Yeah, I'm still an
You
amateur.
actually win races as an amateur. That whole decision to go pro, that obviously you've decided you're in the yard. You don't want to just be a stable boy, you want to actually be a... competitively.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Like I was in Dusty's. Dusty was super to me.
Lovely man.
Oh,
yeah.
Unreal, yeah. Like he taught me a lot. And I still... Liz had taken a horse in out of the field for me to ride. He was an older horse, he was a maiden. And I had my first couple of point rides on him for Liz, even though I had worked for Dusty. So I rode my first winner on him in Tina Healy, a 6-year-old and up maiden. And then
Healy point to point.
Tina Healy point to point, yeah, that was my first point to point winner. And I probably had 15, maybe 20 rides as an amateur on bumpers, and I'd say I got 10 falls. Oh my God, I could not win a bumper, and I only ended up wearing one bumper winner as an amateur. And everything could go wrong, horses getting injured.
10 falls?
Clipping heels on bends, you name it, it happened to me in bumpers, yeah.
How did you get to where you are at all?
Could not, I just eventually...
Just because you were a nice lad?
I just talked my way over. But yeah, so then I started riding over hurdles and fences. My first winner on the track was a handicap chase in Down Royal, a horse called Kiva's Boy.
Who trained that?
Dusty, yeah.
Dusty.
He was my first winner on the track ever. So kind of all spiraled from there. Dusty was kind of half on to me to turn conditional, and I was like, no, I want to get another year of pointing into me. And so that wasn't a lack of confidence, that was just like you needed a plan and you wanted to skill up and you wanted to I just pointing for lads is just at that time, maybe not so much now, but at that time pointing for young lads was deadly. Like, you know, you get so much experience, and it was kind of a level playing field. If you had a couple of half nice horses to ride, you could ride winners.
Right.
Whereas now it's just the very same as riding the track. There's so much money involved in it, and the training level has came up so much. It's very hard to break into it. Whereas then it was just like you could turn up and get a few rides.
Do you regret that in a sense? Or I know a lot of people, the point-to-point aficionados, kind of half regret that it's gotten a lot better, but at a cost.
I think it's affecting the rank of riders coming through.
In a good or a bad way?
In a bad way.
In that you're not riding enough kind of winners, basically.
The young lad, not even that they're not riding enough winners, but the young lads now turning up maybe as conditionals or even amateurs on the track haven't got the experience that they would have got 7 or 8 years ago in point of points, because at that time, if you worked in the yard, there could be 20 horses there, and you get the opportunity to ride one of them because it was only a 3 or 4 grand store or whatever, and there's not that much pressure on. Whereas now, everything is 30, 40 grand stores, and it's the very same as being riding on the track.
And it's not like, it's such a shop window now that, like, so if a nice horse wins a point to point, you could get 300 or 400 grand for it. So it's like, this matters a lot. It's not like the point to point is traditionally the farmer's hunt or whatever, and you had a field turned into a race course for the day. 2,000 locals would turn up.
What points do you need to win to be being able to sell them for 300 or 400 grand?
A 4-year-old maiden.
Like your first one, Jigginstown have like the quality horses they run in these. I've only been to a couple of point to points, but like there's a lot to be said for it. Amy Cod riding, like, two of the best riders going, full stop. But like the proper point to points, there's more chat about them really than there is the maiden hurdle the following day. Like,
well, you see, and it is a very, very valid point that you could be in a field in Tinnahealy or wherever it may be, or in Ballinaboula or Monk's Grange is a very good spot for it, where it's where Sam Crow and he's point to point. But you could be there witnessing a horse that could win a Gold Cup in 3 or 4 or 5 years' time, winning it around the field, you know. Yeah. Now, it is overshadowed a little bit. You said you get your 300 or 400 grand. Not every 4-year-old point to point winner gets it, you know, and not every 4-year-old point to point winner gets sold. You have the lads, the farmers, Goff, Bo, all them lads rocking up, and they are putting their neck on the line. But
I remember my cousin had a horse called Hunter's Call, and he won a maiden hurdle in Naas for a small trainer, and he was the trainer's first winner at the track, and he couldn't get a price for him. He just couldn't sell him. And I think like they weren't looking for mad money, but winning a maiden hurdle at Naas didn't seem to make as much difference as winning a 4-year-old point to point. Now, he might have been 5 at the time, but it really staggered me. Like, Naas, a proper track, he'd be good horses, they couldn't sell him.
Yeah, it's amazing. But then you see the other side of that is too, the likes of the lads, that the 4-year-old point to point men, they have the clientele. Like, they can ring up an owner and say, well, look, I know you're looking for this, and we have X, Y, and they have yardsticks at home, and they know exactly what they're selling, and they build up a trust with the lads, you know.
A track record.
Yeah, and a track record. Like, the likes the same as if Willie had a horse that won a 4-year-old bumper, he could ask what he wants for one of his owners in the yard if he owned it himself, because he has the trust built up with him, and the owners know that he's not going to tell him York is not worth buying, basically.
I'd strongly recommend going to points because if the betting exchanges have made the betting ring as well a little bit, like, it's not the same place, no doubt. There's no betting exchange for point to point, so it's the old ring, and it's real grassroots, like, and it's real. You go around in wellies. If you buy the soup,
they're great crack.
If you buy like the soup or the tea or the coffee, the €2 might go to the local ladies GA club, stuff like that, and there's a great vibe to it. There really is. It just feels like something special, and there's a lot of riding on it. Yeah, you know, there's a lot to be said for it.
Let's talk about the kind of, again, sliding doors moment in your life where it looked like for a while you were definitely thinking about retiring, and you just kind of needed to get out of Ireland for a while.
Yeah, I sure it all went belly up anyway, and I actually did. I went to England first. That was my first port of call. I went to England. It's just everyone's.
I've nearly forgotten that, actually. You nearly forget you were in England.
Yeah, I gave 8 months in England, and I actually loved the whole way the thing was worked and everything like that in England. But
where were you living?
I was living near Bridgend. I was living in a house that Evan Williams. I went over to Evan Williams, and it was one of his houses. I lived there. Lovely place.
Wales, isn't it?
Wales, yeah. And everything was fine. Working in the yard, fine. Back to square one. I was a yard man again, and worked away. Loved it, but not if I said how Mass could get a ride or ride a winner.
Right.
So I left Evan Williams and went freelance for about 3 months, I'd say. I lived with Tom O'Brien, and just couldn't fathom it. Couldn't fathom it. So I came back. It was after Christmas. I came back to Leopardstown to ride a horse of Liz's. I'd won a maiden hurdle on him, and a good friend of mine owned him, so I kept the ride on him, and came back to ride him, and he got injured down the back on the flat, and I said, here we go again, like, you know. So I just got off him, and I walked back across the track, and I threw all my gear in my bag and didn't ride for about 6 or 8 weeks. So I just gave up. I was finished.
Were you low?
Low as a snake's belly. Yeah, I just couldn't. I just do you know what? I walked out of the weigh room that day and I was like, I have enough of this. And I didn't wash my gear. I just pegged it all into the bag, zipped it up, and I said, yeah, sound. It's
a self-fulfilling prophecy as well when you're not riding winners, because your confidence clearly does suffer, and then you're making it harder to come back because you're riding worse. Yeah, you're riding worse, and then you're riding worse, you're getting worse horses, and then it goes from worse horses to no horses, and then, you know, there was a point when a couple of years where I was riding 2-3 winners a year, and like, you'd ride a winner, and most lads would say, you'd be happy when you come home after riding a winner. I come home worse, because I know, right, I've ridden a winner today, I probably won't ride another winner for 6 months. Do you know? That's how it gets in your mind that much, like that it just gets in on your mind. And
so you couldn't even celebrate the good times?
No, a good time is great when you pass the line, happy days, and then you get back in and say, he mightn't win again. Yeah. And then wonder where, because the main killer for any jockey, I think, is where they go to their place or places of work if you're a freelance jockey. And they'll all do it, especially this time of the year. You'll walk in and you'll say, yeah, he'll win, or he won't win, or whatever you have. You know, you'll have a kind of a persona in your head. But if you're looking into every yard and you're like, no good. He's going to struggle. And then you're thinking, where's my next winner coming? Yeah. And it's a slippery slope then, because generally,
you can't influence it.
Like, no, you can't. You can do. Yeah, no. You can't carry him. Yeah. And like one, if you have 10 horses, one is definitely going to win no matter how bad they are. But then when you get into the time of year, how long is it going to take that one to win? Like, you know, and of course you do. Yeah, sure. Who else are you going to blame?
Well, the fact that horses are no good, you know, you can't carry them. So so we've been talking a good bit about this over the last while. That, like, the lifestyle of a jockey is unhealthy because you struggle to make weight, you have to make sure that you're fit, you get injured, the risk is massively high, the high is very high, the lows are very low. Like, it definitely seems like it's something that the industry needs to kind of, and it's clearly getting better at dealing with, but to talk about, like...
Yeah, I think so, but sure, you can only deal with things so much. It's kind of it's just the way it is, like, you know. I just kind of always picked myself up and said, right, well, so nothing we can do, this is it, and move forward with it. Like, it's just one of them things, like, if you come out, like, you think that's hard, and it's a spiraling thing with everything you say but weight. So if your confidence is low, you're not riding winners. So then you start losing rides. Then you're riding less, your weight gets higher.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing as much going. And then, so that's also a knock-on thing, as well as, you know.
What were you going to do, like? If you
anything at all.
Yeah.
I tip around at home, and I was doing a few bits with the father's builders. Just kind of got myself just away. And it was Andrew Doyle. I think he's gone, isn't he gone assistant to Neil Mulholland now?
Right.
Andrew Doyle, yeah. So he was at home training a few horses with his brother that time, and he just rang me and begged me. He said he was stuck for someone to ride work. So that's how I just kind of got back there, and I just kind of got slowly back riding a few bits of work here and a few bits of work there. And then I got a phone call off actually Ross Gertie and a guy called Dave Niven. He used to work in Dusty's, but I think he drives the lorry for Jim Bulger now. Two of them rang me. One rang me on a Saturday night, and the other one rang me on Sunday morning for the same job, independently.
Right.
So it's just funny. So I was like, right,
in the States.
Yeah. So I said, well, I'm definitely not in the position to say no. Like, so yeah, absolutely, I'll go. So
where was this?
Went out to Baltimore, Jack Fisher's. So Jack Fisher is kind of, he'd be Gordon Elliott or Willie Mullins of America, like.
Right. Did you watch The Wire before you went?
I watched The Wire. I should have, but I did truly enjoy it.
The Wire or the time over there?
The Wire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never watched The Wire. Everyone says gotta watch The Wire.
Get with the program.
Yeah.
They should have had a series on horse. You know, every series was about something different, wasn't it? They should have had one on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jumps racing over there.
Jumps racing over there is very, very different. It comes back to the Pint scene here. Ruby was over and he said, and I can't understand it. It's summer racing here should be like it. It's brilliant to have, like, if you go to America, you have the bear track here and your jumps, and there's no way to bypass or any of that. Like, and you have jeeps all the way around, people having their picnics. Like, it is jammed. There'd be thousands of thousands. It'd be like racing could be at 1 o'clock and there will be a queue down the road at 9 o'clock in the morning trying to get in. It's just different.
Is it a rural thing or is this like? Yeah.
Well, you have the likes of Saratoga and Belmont Park, but there's only racing like Saratoga. I think 1 or 2 races a week for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You know? And Belmont is only one. Jack won it last night. There's only 1 or 2
Jack
races.
Kennedy, the big winner in Belmont last night.
Right,
a rare jumps race at the track.
Yeah. So but they call them hunt meetings. So that's what they are like. And they're just out in the middle of nowhere in the countryside, and maiden hurdle is worth 45 grand.
And so when you get off the plane in Baltimore, are you like, okay, I'm literally ignoring the person I was until this point. I am a newly reborn, fully confident Sean Flanagan who's going to go here and slay all before me?
No, I never really thought about it like that. It was just like, sure, I'm in America now, so let's give it a go. That's it, like, you know. And it's funny because I landed in and I knew nothing about American racing. I didn't Google it. I said, let's go. We're away. So I landed into the yard the next morning to ride out. Meet Willie Dowling. He's from Castlecomer, like, and he's just there. He was the stable jockey. I didn't even know, and so he was the first lad I met. And we rode out that day and down to the Whiteway, the local pub, and there was Willie Dowling, Cormac Farrell. He's a trainer. I'd ridden winners for. I didn't know he was even out there. Richie Rowan and
Cormac Farrell is out there.
No, he was. He was out there at the time. And there was 5 lads at the bar. 2 lads from Cork, me, a lad from Kilkenny, and someone else. So like, it's the very same as being at home.
You were true to the spirit of being a jockey, anyway.
Yes, exactly. Yes, but it just went from there. Like, I rode. I think I was there for 3 months and came back. I went back out for another 3 months and I rode 15 winners or something.
So that must have been a transformative experience, though. Like,
absolutely, just came home a different man. Yeah, came home a different man. Riding horses that just take you where you want to go again, you know. And it just all spiraled from there. Then before I left, I'd got good friends with Jimmy Kelly, which is Harry Kelly's brother. He's a trainer down in Tipperary, and they trained a lot of bump winners that year, and they were just transitioning to go hurdling. So when I came back, I was faced with I think it was 6-4 favourite to be champion jockey in America that year, and I never went back, and I just stayed, and it just kind of all.
Was there any bitterness or disappointment from your American connections that you weren't loyal to them, or did you feel that, like, or?
Not really. No, I've gone out since and ridden for him.
Yeah. So
I flew out to Atlanta a couple of times and ridden.
didn't burn any bridges.
No.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of friends out there, and yeah, like the door is always open for me to go back, and they love people going over, even just to ride for the weekend. At the time I went out to Atlanta, flew out Saturday morning and back Sunday evening.
Yeah.
You know, no problem, and it's an interesting place. Like the people that own horses out there, they're very, very wealthy people, and they love the sport of horse racing. Like they love it. You know, they're different. They're different gravy.
It's different. Like the flat out there is so big. The jumps racing it's probably nearly like point to point compared to the track here. Like
absolutely, and there's not as many horses. Like they have jump racing, and it's kind of every weekend, and it's all down the East Coast. Like so, like a Grade 1, there could be 10 Grade 1s a year, and like the same horse would run in every Grade 1. Like,
Right.
you know, someone will have a chance every year, kind of a thing. Do you know?
Yeah.
Then they're starting now lately to buy in a lot of Irish horses and English horses and that. And
this could change as well, yeah. Because I was talking to a lad the other night that was thinking of buying a horse in the Doncaster Sales, and I said, "What are you thinking of buying him for?" He goes, "Oh, you want to run him in that race in America." So there's this because let's be honest, the standard isn't great. Like compared to our Grade 1s, you can go over there with a run of the mill horse within reason and win a Grade 1 and win like a couple of $100,000.
Yeah, like it's different. Like, you know, you have a lot of their horses
Hatching a plan there, Johnny.
flatbred horses too. Yeah.
Hey, but you could the horse that your man was on was about $20,000. Like, and I remember when Tony Mullins told the story of going over riding Grebel for a Wexford man actually. Paddy Keogh.
Paddy Keogh.
Rode for his father, Paddy, the late Paddy Mullins, and Tony rode Grebel, and she won what was the richest race in America at the time, and they obviously wanted to celebrate. But the county they were in, you couldn't get liquor on a Sunday. So a certain W. Mullins, or shall we say Willie M., was sent to the neighbouring county to bring back the hooch, and they had a big party that night, and Paddy Mullins, who was a man of even fewer words than whoever I was on about earlier, he sang the Rose of Mooncoin. But that was way ahead of its time. And they just had a great time. But I think it'll become a bigger thing that you look at a horse that could go to America like the horses last night, because these aren't stars. Now, Clarkham's a good horse, he didn't win. But you can go over there and get nice prize money if you've the right type of horse. It'll be nice ground, like proper nice ground.
Or it'll be like the road,
Get you to ride it, what with your local experience.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, sure, Danny Mullins went out last year and won the Grand National out there. Like, he won on a horse that I wouldn't have made and hurdle on over there, a horse called Mr. Hot Stuff. But you say the calibre racing is over. Mr. Hot Stuff was favourite for Kentucky Derby at one stage.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, so that's sometimes the level of it. Obviously, when you're favourite for Kentucky Derby, he's probably 10 or 12.
Yeah.
You know, but still.
But when you came back from America, there's no guarantee, like, okay, like American racing means nothing to us, like, so it's not as if your stock had risen in the eyes of trainers over here or whatever.
No, absolutely not. But I did come back and probably ride a lot better than I was before I left.
Why?
Confidence. I'd
That's
ridden,
it, just like,
completely. Yeah. You
You
know,
weren't there long enough to learn new tricks or anything.
No.
You hadn't changed your style. You hadn't got lessons.
But I was just riding horses that take me places again. And then when I got back, the door had opened in Harry's that I could ride his, and his were good enough to win again. You know, and then I got back riding for Liz and started riding a couple of rounds from Liz, and then it just went from there. I came back. I think I rode 6 winners the year before I left, and I rode 14 the year I came back and 30 the year after.
Right.
30?
Yeah.
And you've 20 already this season before the injury.
Yeah. You know, and I rode 60 last year. So...
But getting the Noel Meade job was... I don't think anyone saw that coming, because, like, obviously Paul Carey was retired, and I think Ger Fox was kind of riding there, and, like... He's not from anywhere near Noel Meade in terms of location, so I never saw that coming, and I thought it was like, this is such a big job, and I just had to admire the fact that you went in there grafted, and all of a sudden you were the stable jockey, like. Yeah,
well, there was a couple of factors, I suppose. Jimmy was a very good friend of mine, and Jimmy Kelly, and he was kind of like, you know, always trying to point, and he'd be always like, if you'd done something silly in a race, like, you wouldn't be back in the room and you'd have a missed call, like, you know, and you get a chawn, and it's always good. But he kind of said, look, you need to go somewhere and kind of get riding a better type of horse, so just even to ride out, like, you know. So it was just after Davy Condon had announced his retirement through injury, and it was coming into summer times, which is obviously a bad time to be bringing anyone to in ride out, because it was summer and there wasn't going to be a load of horses. And so I rang Noel, and he said, yeah, absolutely, sure, come in after the summer, like when the horses are back in. So
that's a massive breakthrough, like even just being there.
So I said, yeah, Jesus, happy days. And then, of course, I met a girl from up that direction, so I had a reason to...
I knew there was a reason you went to Noel Meade.
Yeah, that's the reason.
After all these years, it's finally apparent, because the girl is from Armagh.
Yeah, close by, so... Yeah, and that's it. Just and I was going in 1 day a week, and I wasn't going in 5 or 6 weeks, and Paul got hurt. And I just said it to him in the tack room one morning. I said, here, sure, if you're looking a hand out there, I can come in a bit more. And the first ride I had for him was Texas Jack in that listed chase in Gorns on 2 or 3 weeks' time. That was the first ride I had for him.
A lovely horse.
Oh,
yeah.
One. No, it's tall enough.
Yeah.
He was gone by sell by day at that stage, but to me, like, it was to ride for Noel Meade, a horse that was a former Grade 1 winner in a graded chaser. It was...
And so it's just a level of trust then builds up over a period of time.
And it just went from there. There was never, I've as I said to a couple of people, I've never asked him for a ride, and he's never. We just kind of.
And Paul was humming, and like Paul was hoping to get back, and everyone was kind of saying privately, like, he probably should call it a day, because he'd had, I think it was in was it one of the Kerry tracks, I think he got a bad fall, like, and he was broken up so badly. I think he was around 41 or 2. I think if you're riding in your 40s over jumps, you're probably too old.
Listowel, yeah,
it was Listowel.
Broke his femur, yeah.
I think it was a Tony Martin train horse, fell at the second or something like that.
No, it was Noel's. It was one of Noel's.
Sorry, yeah.
He was owned by Presenting Percy's man.
Oh yeah, Albert Reynolds' son, Philip. Yeah, he was a horse I think that might have come off the flat, maybe.
He did, yeah. He won a maiden hurdle, but it was funny because I rode him in a chase afterwards, and he fell again.
I think he was a Dan Silly horse. He was very keen.
Yeah,
I think. But in any event, so it was kind of like Paul was still there, and you thought he'd come back, but it was kind of like maybe he won't.
Well, like he was in my eyes, he was coming back all along, as far as I knew, and as far as I think as far as Noel knew, and then. I think he just they wouldn't let him back. I think he had the pain. He has a lot of pain in his legs since, even still, and they wouldn't let him back. But then, like, I read it in the. It was actually, I'd started riding plenty. I'd ridden a good few winners. Bonnie Kate was probably the breakthrough. I won a couple of good chases. I won a list of chases on her, and she was the one that kind of brought it forward. That I was riding all Patricia Hunt's farm, and but still there was never the conversation was never had, and I was happy enough, and it popped up on my timeline the other day. It was 2 years ago yesterday, I think, or the day before, that it was announced that I got the job. But I was in Noel's riding out and ridden, work and done whatever I'd done, and it's grand, and I was living in Wexford at the time, so I was moseying on down the road, and Dave Jennings rings me up, and he was talking about the weather and talking about racing and talking about this.
David Jennings talking about the weather?
Yeah, anything, yeah. And then he just said, so a quick quote there on your new job. And I was, what new job? And then he kind of, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe he did. I said, I haven't heard anything about it. So he just texted me then a few minutes later, congratulations, new job, front of the Racing Post tomorrow, and that was it.
Got the scoop ahead of me.
Yeah.
That's how it was announced.
Mad.
Yeah.
If somebody else in a third party goes...
David Jennings absolutely loves Noel Meade. Like, he's his favourite yard by a long way, so it's no wonder he got that.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, what's the point of a stable jockey generally? Like, why do the big trainers feel like they need somebody to be the go-to person? It's obviously a very special relationship, and we've seen it. It's obviously very successful, but what's the point of it?
Well, I suppose it's a trust. It's a trust. It's so, like, Noel and myself, we'd seldom talk about what way a horse is ridden. I know what way he likes him ridden, and he knows I know what way he likes him ridden. And then it's a trust that he trusts me to carry out the job, I suppose, the way he wants it done. And then it's also that I'm there riding the horse's work, and I know that to do X, Y and Z or don't do X, Y and Z.
Yeah, so it's shorthand as well. It kind of saves on the it's consistency.
But I think stable jockeys will exist forevermore, but I don't see the point at all in retained owner jockeys. To me, like, I think it can actually ruin a jockey's career to a sense, because he's kind of going around different yards to ride a select number of horses. His loyalty is to the owner rather than the trainer. Oftentimes, the trainer doesn't really want him riding the horse. So, but he's kind of beholden to the owner.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I think it's like nearly an ego thing with some owners, that they need, like, he's my jockey. But, like, so it wasn't an ego thing with Jigginstown now, but we'll say they've kind of gotten out of it at this stage. They just look like they've come to the point where Sean will ride Noel Meade's horses. Rachel Blackmore could be riding for, if it's Henry de Bromhead, and whoever else in for, say, Joseph O'Brien. But it's like, I don't see the point in it.
Yeah, no, it's Yeah, it's a hard one to call. I know what you're saying, but now to be fair, the owner retained rider is almost gone as well. Like there isn't really any, you know.
Like even JP's situation now probably has changed, like, but it's definitely lucrative for the rider.
Yeah.
I don't see the point in it. Whereas a stable jockey, there's a trust there. You're a duo, and you're also riding the horse at home the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We'll have a look at some of the weekend's racing. Obviously, Friday Night Racing is brought to you by GoRacing.ie. But this week, with thanks to the Tote.com, we have another €100 charity bet. Total winnings from our Tote bets going directly to the Irish Injured Jockeys thus far have been €515. Obviously. Did we back each way last week?
I don't know how. That was Silver Code in the nightcap.
Yeah.
I don't know how he was beaten for Joe Murphy, who's what's that little smile about there. He in fairness now, this was a competitive handicap, and he was second in the race last year. It looked like, and he unfortunately was second in the race again, but he took it up. And it's funny at Leopardstown, the last 100 yards, even though it's not a particularly testing track, the last 100 yards can be a long 100 yards in this case.
If you get down to the bottom of the straight in Leopardstown, it's good enough pull to the top now.
Yeah,
it's different, it looks.
The last line on my script here is both Johnny Murtagh and John Small each tipped winners last week, 100% strike rate.
Get them on the show then.
Somewhat higher than Johnny today.
They've nothing to be doing.
Our bet this week, Johnny, what have we got?
You're really teeing it up here. No
pressure.
The bet this week is I fancy two horses in either division of the flat handicap at Gowran. The Jumps Racing returns to Gowran Park October 5th handicap, Division 1. Best Not Argue, trained by Joseph O'Brien, who we mentioned earlier. This horse was very, very impressive in a subtle way on her debut for the yard at Roscommon recently, and I certainly don't think a £9 rise will stop her. And she literally just has to get into the lorry, and she's in Gowran in no time, relatively close to the track, and it should be fairly straightforward. In the other division, I like Cosmic Symbol, but Best Not Argue should definitely take all the beating.
Okay, so Cosmic Symbol is earlier at Gowran?
That's in the second division of the same race at 4:20, trained by George Webb, who hasn't had a winner, I think, since October of last year, but he had very few runners. And this, like you're talking about Sean, in the days of having a winner every 6 months, this would mean a lot to George Webb, I'd imagine, to have a winner here tomorrow, and Cosmic Symbol should be able to oblige.
Check out the Tote.com or the Tote's social media to see what dividend they pay if any of those bets come in, and our thanks to the Tote.com as usual. Let's talk about some of the big races this weekend. The William Hill Ayr Gold Cup is at Ayr on Saturday. This is the big race of the weekend?
It is, and it was funny actually. I was at Leopardstown and the Curragh last Sunday. Curragh actually is coming along really well, and I was kind of thinking this is going to be a proper racetrack when it's done. But we're watching the Group 1 sprint, as we alluded to last week. It was a very, very weak Group 1. But as they crossed the line, Son of Rest just had literally crossed the line, and he flashed home in second. And Kevin Blake, the journalist, came up to me and he said he's entering the Ayr Gold Cup next Saturday.
Right.
And he's basically going to be very well handicapped on that particular bit of form. In theory, if he reproduces his run on Sunday, he will quite simply win the race tomorrow, even a competitive handicap. And he said, I'm pretty sure he's going for the race. So, journalistic duties were kind of just pushed to one side, and three of us were like, see what we can get on. And he was 40-1. So there were three of us we didn't get a lot on, but we got enough to win a holiday in somewhere nice anyway if he wins. But he's now into 11-2, but he's a huge chance. He really has, and it'd be a great win for Fozzie Stack. I think he's 10 or 11 pounds well in. Coming out 6 days later wouldn't bother me at all. He's a very straightforward horse, and he's drawn high, which I'm not really sure how the draw is going to work out here, but he's a huge chance under Chris Hayes.
Are you into flat racing? Do you watch flat racing, or do you like take a break away?
Not really. I'd watched like the Curragh and that in the weekend. I watched all that now. I watched that horse, and a horse with graded form in a handicap. There's no comparison.
Yeah, and he's not overburdened weight wise either. Would your girlfriend take an interest in it now? Would she have an interest for you?
No, she'd watch it and whatever, but she wouldn't have any
flat or jumps.
Yeah,
I like the honesty.
Two races in Newbury we want to talk about. The 255, which is a Group 2, the Dubai Duty Free Mill Reef Stakes over 6 furlongs, and then the 330 is a slightly bigger field, and that is the Dubai International Airport World Trophy Stakes.
Yeah, this is actually Aidan O'Brien is going to hit the end of the season running, I think, because he went through a blip, which I don't really remember the yard being out of form, so to speak, ever, but they were slightly out of form this year, and these horses, I think, are going to finish the season strongly because they probably weren't hard trained during that sort of period, so they're probably just a little bit maybe fresher, and they're probably able to maintain their form. The Irish Rover is by No Nay Never, which therein lies the rub, obviously. So Sue Magner, she's gotten like as many lyrics as she can out of No Nay Never to fit into the names of horses. So they're probably running out at this stage, but the Irish Rovers won them. He's a great chance in the 255. Ryan Moore rode him at Doncaster. He looked all over the winner, came there, and he kind of floundered in the last 4 rounds. I think they'll hold on to him. And Sioux Nation, who's a fine big horse in the 330 for Aidan as well. It's not a particularly strong sprint this, and he has a decent chance. He actually was just behind Son of Rest. So when you're looking at more form boosts, like he's running 20 minutes before Son of Rest is there. So if Sioux Nation wins, you can go in harder again.
Sean, I did want to ask you about being a pilot. At one stage, was one of your plans to stay within the industry, but like fly jockeys from course to course? Was that a bit of a madcap idea? Was it a real thing?
I was
Is that your retirement plan now?
Kind of half. I don't know really. I always had an interest in, like, even when I was a kid, it used to be model airplanes and all, but I never ever got the opportunity to go about it, you know. And then when I started back riding winners, I said, I'm going to have a go and have, you know. So I started in Waterford, and then shortly after starting Waterford, I realised that a friend of mine owns a plane in Newcastle and Wicklow. It's only a small little 2-seater. His son was trained now to fly in it, and it's just progressively got going from there. Yeah, like.
So now you're a pilot.
So I have all the hours done. And all across country, so I can go down there, I can hop in a plane and fly away solo. But I've the starting of my theory exams is Wednesday, so once I get them done, I can jolly away.
What level pilot would that be? What could you fly?
It's called a PPL. It's a private pilot, so I can fly, like, I think it's a six-seater single engine, and you can go and do ratings then. So I could go to a twin engine if I wanted to get the ratings to go and do that.
Right.
But yeah, it's I love it. It's great. I flew to Killarney when I rode down there a couple of weeks back.
That's class. Like.
Yeah.
So you're riding the race. I'll actually fly there.
Flew down, yeah.
Have you gotten, I know you have a child, have you gotten married yet?
No.
Because I was just thinking, if you do ever propose, you gotta like fly the plane with the old banner
hanging out of the back.
Will you marry me? And if you can see the gesture, you know, you'll probably be able to see the gesture down there, but just an idea for you.
Yeah, good idea, yeah, I'll take that on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I flew to Clark, flew to Sligo as well, racing as well. It's
How long would it take, like half an hour or something?
No, Sligo took me 50 minutes from Wicklow.
50?
Yeah. That was in a 4-seater. I bought.
Happy days.
Who came with me that day was Roger and Luke Dempsey came down with me. But I came back with me. But yeah, no, it's deadly, and it's something that I think I will go into in the future.
It's got to be an off-the-ball feature.
Oh yeah.
You know, go with Sean in the plane, follow his advice.
Is the attraction the adrenaline? Because it seems to me you have enough adrenaline in your life at the moment with these like giant beasts rolling over you.
It is a bit like, I suppose, a little bit like the training. The training, anyone that is kind of into anything like that, I strongly recommend you to train. It's you know, like you have to do like safety things, obviously, you know, and they train you how to land if the engine fails. So like you're out there and they say, right, they pull the engine and say land out there in that field, like, you know.
I can just imagine like the off the ball lads get in and there's a little bit of nerves going on. And it's like, no, it's grand actually. Just if the engine fails,
I know what to do.
We were trained for that.
Yeah, I know what to do.
Actually, you're grand.
You know,
you're ready, lads. Like, no.
And then you have your first solo. Like, so it is what it is. Like they train you to a point. Like, and then they say, right, best of luck. Off you go, and that's it. Like you're away, and once you leave the ground, like bar you know what to do. Like
it is what it is. A tiny piece of balsa wood held up in the air miraculously by a tiny engine.
Yeah.
I can't let you go though without mentioning this. What's your favourite movie, Ger?
Chinatown.
Chinatown. Mine is The Big Lebowski, right? And there's a 20th anniversary screening tomorrow night, which is entirely incidental to the plot, because the aforementioned David Jennings asked this man what his favourite movie was, and your answer was?
I can't remember now. What did I say?
The Titanic.
Oh, the Titanic, yeah. That's a brilliant film. Like, it has to be, like.
So we've somehow gotten from an airplane to a ship sinking, and a discussion about jockeys.
Yeah, well, you want to keep a broad mind. Keeps it sane.
When are you back, Sean?
I was down with John Butler yesterday. He's our physio, so I've gone down to him a couple of times. He's based in Galway, so I try to get down to him as much as I can, and I meet him at the races whenever he's at the races. And I kind of said to him yesterday, 2 weeks, and he was a bit. So
jockeys always want to be back quicker than the doctor.
So I have to go see our surgeon Paddy Kenny on Tuesday, and hopefully he might put a bit more clarity on it. Like the actual break itself is healed, like, fine, but it's the movement, the restriction of the knees where the problem is going to be. But every time I go to see John and I kind of have work to do at home and all that, I can feel it. Like I've gone from like a big struggle to climb the stairs to able to do a little job up the stairs now, so I'm getting there.
Yeah, well listen, best of luck with the recovery. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers, thank you.
Johnny, hopefully we picked a few winners this week. We'll see you again on next Friday. Until then, take care.
Friday Night Racing.
On Off the Ball.
And they're off.
Brought to you by Go Racing. Plan your day at the races at goracing.ie.